It's 2023, and on top of the record high inflation that we've already been challenged with the last year plus, the USDA is now expecting another 8% increase on food at home prices this year. The good news is I have 14 ways that I can show you to save money on your grocery bill this year. So the first thing that you want to do is set a grocery budget for yourself and your family. A great baseline to start with is $50 per person per week, and this should be able to cover all of your baseline necessities. This does not include personal care items, restaurants, or any other food that's consumed outside of the home. Of course, there can be a number of different factors that may alter this number, such as dietary restrictions, or if you live in a large city. This is a great baseline to start with, but of course you can adjust it as you need to. Without a budget, I tend to find myself overdoing it in a lot of different areas, and I think this is a great number to help keep ourselves accountable for what we plan to spend and what we want to spend on our food at home. Prepare a weekly meal plan. This should take approximately 30 minutes, and do it on a day when you're wrapping up your week and you're getting ready to start prepping for the next week. Take some time looking through the inventory of what you already have on hand so that nothing gets wasted. Look through your pantry, your freezer, your fridge, any leftovers that you have, and anything that you can utilize in a new week's meal plan to subtract from your spend for the new week. Take a look at your store's weekly ad circulars and start to build on your meal plan from what's on sale. This may not include every single item that you need, but it's a great jumping off point. If you start to have some writer's block and you aren't sure what items to start adding to your meal plan and you're just staring at a blank piece of paper, consider dedicating a theme to each night. For example, one night you could have casserole night, you could have a soup and salad night, you could have an Italian night, or things like that, so that you have a more limited selection of items to pick from, and it will help to eliminate that analysis paralysis, which could tempt you to not want to even start the meal plan in the first place. If you need a meal plan template, I will link the one that I use down below. It's completely free. You can print it out and hang it up on your fridge to fill out on paper, or just fill it out digitally and keep it on your phone. However works best for you, as long as you have it, it will really help your process. Whichever stores that you like to shop at, download their apps. Most of the major grocers now have rewards clubs or apps that you can download, clip digital coupons, and view the weekly ad circulars. I think this is so great to just have at your fingertips. A lot of times you'll need the rewards club in order to take advantage of the sale prices, and a lot of times you'll need the app or a user account to take advantage of the digital coupons. One thing that's really cool about the apps is that they provide digital coupons, which are so easy to use, and you are leaving money on the table if you don't use these. One thing I hear frequently from people who are kind of testing the use of coupons is that it takes too much time and energy to try to find them, so what's the point in order to save 50 cents? While I can definitely agree with that sentiment, these days things are a little different in the coupon game. This isn't grandma's coupons anymore, and there's a lot of coupons out there where you can stack them on top of each other, or you can combine them with rebate apps, which I'll talk about later in the video. There's a lot of money to be had with this, so don't sleep on the digital coupons. They're out there and they're super easy to use. And if you have your meal plan ready to go and you know exactly what you're searching for, it takes the guesswork out of finding which digital coupons that you need. My next tip is to buy realistically. I know this may seem like a no-brainer, but just because it's on sale doesn't mean that it's a good idea for you to purchase that. Even if it's an item that you do use frequently, if you cannot get through something fast enough before it expires, you will ultimately be wasting money on that. That's especially true for perishable items. So if you found a really good sale on potatoes, for example, and maybe they're 20 cents a pound, that's an amazing deal, but you can only get through so many potatoes before they're going to go bad. So when I'm talking to people about their grocery spend, something I hear frequently is the produce just doesn't last very long. Well, I think that's kind of a two-part thing. I know it feels like the adult thing to do to go out and buy a ton of fruits and veggies, but if that's not how you eat, if that's not what you enjoy eating, or if that's not what you plan to prepare, don't buy it. It's just going to be a waste of money in the end. And although a balanced diet should include those things, if you know realistically that you're not going to eat those, don't waste the money on them. And just because it's on sale doesn't necessarily mean that it's something you should buy. If you've already prepared your meal plan and you're within your budget, don't buy those extra perishable items that might be on sale. It could be a great deal, but if you don't have a specific plan to use it that week, don't buy it because it will ultimately end up going bad and you will just have wasted your money. Another component to buying realistically is to keep convenience meals on hand. I know there's going to be nights of the week where I come home from work and the last thing I want to do is pull out pots and pans and start chopping. So I will keep a couple of quick to prepare frozen meals on hand just for those special instances. It's not something I use every day because they are a little bit more expensive. I like to keep them on hand just because it's cheaper than going out for dinner and I can use them in a pinch if I have to. Next is calculating your use rate. So this sounds a little bit more involved, but I promise it's really not that complicated. You just want to start keeping track of how quickly that you're moving through the product in your house so that you know when you hit a sale on something, how much that you should stock up on in order to get you through until the next time it's on sale. One thing I like to do is keep a couple of Sharpies hidden around the house and just mark the date that I open a product on the outside of the package. So that way when I finish the product, I know when I started that and I can start to figure out how quickly I'm moving through those items. With that, you can start to develop a stockpile and start keeping things on hand that you can use throughout upcoming weeks. Things like canned goods, pastas, rice, beans, even things in your freezer. And having these items on hand will be such a helpful tool in future weeks, particularly if your budget is extra tight one month, or if you're in a pinch, you'll have these items on hand to help feed your family. The same rule applies with your stockpile as it does with buying realistically from the last tip. Make sure you're only stocking what you actually want to eat. If you find a case of sardines on sale for 50 cents a piece, that's an amazing deal, but if nobody in your family actually eats sardines, then it's a complete waste of money. Throughout this process, you'll start to get used to how often the items that you generally are buying are going on sale. Stores will generally have a sales cycle. They'll be putting things on sale in a rotation that you can take advantage of once you determine what that sales cycle is. Now, this is not public information. Stores don't come right out and tell you what this is, so it's up to you to figure it out. But it's really not that difficult, especially if you start to mark the boxes. It's a little bit of extra work up front, but it really pays off once you can start to take advantage of those sales cycles. Okay, so you have determined your grocery budget, you have created your weekly meal plan, you have downloaded your store's app, you are determining the sales cycles. Those are all great foundation. And now it's time to go shopping. If you have the ability to do your grocery shopping online and doing either an in-store or a curbside pickup, let me tell you, this is a total game changer. This is probably the only thing born out of the COVID era that I am overjoyed with. I love the fact that every store now has a curbside pickup option, and I love even more that it is free. This is just such a great option and a great way to avoid that temptation of going into the store and wandering up and down the aisles and picking up impulse buys and spending money unnecessarily. In our area, we have Walmart and Kroger. I use both of their online pickup services very frequently, and after I make my meal plan, I can just plug in my grocery list right on their apps. I can compare prices and sizes for all of the products that I need, and for those that are concerned about the quality of meat or produce items that somebody else is picking out for them, I've been using this service for almost 3 years now, and I've had very minimal problems with this, and when I do, I can just simply go into the app and get a refund, no questions asked. If you have yet to try this pickup service, it's completely free. There's no subscription or anything like that. I will put a link in the description box below to sign up for the Walmart service. Give it a try. It's completely risk-free, and it is such an amazing time saver. If you do end up having to shop in store, stick to the perimeter of the store. That's where all of the healthy, nutritious, baseline foods are going to be. All of your produce, your deli, your bakery, meats, dairy, and even frozen are always on the perimeter of the store. That's where you want to stick to. Where you're going to start overspending is when you start wandering up and down the aisles. I know that's where all the snacks and goodies are, and trust me, I love a good snack, but those barcode snacks will destroy your budget faster than anything else. And not only do they destroy your budget, but they also don't fill up tummies very much, so you're still going to need to eat above and beyond those snacks anyway. So I suggest stick to the perimeters as much as you can. Go down the aisles for things that you have a plan for, such as canned items, dried pasta, beans, rice, things like that. Allow yourself to get 1 to 2 treats per week. Try to plan those treats out and try to pick something that's on sale. That way you're still allowing yourself the freedom to get some goodies without going overboard on impulse buys. One of the biggest contributors to a grocery bill can be the protein section. So in order to keep the protein cost under control, there's a few different things that you can try. Check out some proteins that you may have not used in the past. Things like chicken leg quarters are one of my favorite go-to proteins. They are so delicious. They are great for grilling. I put them in the Instant Pot for shredded chicken tacos. You can barbecue them, you can put them in the oven and roast them. There's a million different ways that you can prepare these. They are so tasty, and their non-sale price on any given day is generally between 50 cents and $1 per pound. They're usually sold in 10-pound bags, and let me tell you, they can feed a crowd. Another really economical option is to look at the canned proteins. There is canned chicken, beef, fish, among other things. And while these are generally considered to be a convenience type food, they certainly have a purpose in every kitchen. And they're especially great for kids who are starting to get comfortable in the kitchen, and the kids can use these for chicken quesadillas or shredded beef tacos. And the best part is they are generally $1 to $2 per can. You can always stretch your proteins as well by adding things in like lentils, mushrooms, or even beans to make your protein go that much further. Depending on the dish, you can even add in carrots. And lastly, talk to a local butcher. A lot of times, butchers get reputations for being more expensive because they are higher in quality, but they can also give you recommendations for local farmers who may be willing to sell you meat in bulk. And while that is more of an investment up front, your price per pound is going to be drastically lower than what you're finding in the grocery store, and it will also be a higher quality. Speaking of barcode snacks, if you aren't already checking out the generic or store brand versions, give them a try. A lot of times they are almost indistinguishable from the brand name. Not Oreos, but anything else, give it a try. You'll probably save a few bucks, may even develop a new favorite snack. Who knows? All right, so shopping's done, we're ready to check out. Take a look at the credit cards that you have to see if any of them offer cash back on grocery purchases. A lot of credit cards have rotating categories and sometimes offer anywhere between 2 and 6% cash back on grocery purchases. That's like getting an automatic discount on everything that you just bought for doing absolutely nothing. A list of credit cards that provide cash back on grocery purchases is very easy to find online. So if you are a credit card user open to using a credit card, I strongly suggest getting one that has the cashback rewards for grocery purchases. All right, my last tip for you guys is to use rebate apps like Fetch and Ibotta. These are apps that are completely free to use, and they will give you cash back for purchasing groceries that you already would have purchased anyways. In 2022, I made over $600 in cash back on my Ibotta app and over $50 cash back on my Fetch app. All you have to do is scan your receipt into the app and they will give you cash back for the eligible items that you've purchased. These are super simple to use, and what a great way to make a few bucks after your grocery trip. If you don't already have these apps, I will put a link down in the description box below. You can get $2 completely for free after you scan your first receipt. And once you get $5 or more, you can start redeeming your rewards for things like gift cards or cash back. All right, and here's a bonus tip for you. When you are shopping, pay attention to the cost per unit, whether that's ounces or grams. Take a look at that because the bigger package size isn't always necessarily the biggest value. Most of the time it is, but not always. So make sure that you're looking at that so that you get the most amount of product for the money that you're spending. An easy way to find this is just taking a look at the hang tag on the grocery store shelf, or online it will often be listed right next to the product description. That way you can compare two different sizes or two different brands by looking at the cost per unit. Oh, all right guys, that is 14 tips. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10. Those are the tips for you to save money on groceries in 2023. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of those tips and if you've used any of them and which ones you like best. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.